Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going behind the scenes of this booming world of global capability centers.
GCCs.
GCCs, yeah, those things. We'll be exploring how companies are really leveraging these overseas powerhouses to gain that competitive edge. And specifically how YASH Technologies is playing a key role in this global shift.
You can think of a GCC as a strategic extension of your business.
Okay.
Often located in a different country where you can tap into a diverse pool of talent and resources. So it's about optimizing operations, driving innovation, and sometimes taking advantage of cost savings.
Okay, so not just about chasing cheap labor then.
Definitely not. It's much more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
Companies are using GCCs to build specialized teams, develop new products, and even enter new markets.
Wow.
It's about strategically positioning yourself for global success.
All right, so let's talk about YASH Technologies. They've really caught my eye because their growth in the GCC space has been phenomenal.
It's been amazing.
We're talking a team that's grown to over 1,200 people.
Right.
Dedicated to GCCs in just a few years.
They're just a few years.
And they're working with some big names. What's their secret sauce?
What's fascinating about YASH is their focus on the mid-market.
Okay.
They understand that these companies often face unique challenges when it comes to setting up and running a GCC.
Right.
They might not have the same resources or in-house expertise as larger enterprises.
Makes sense.
But they still have ambitious global goals.
So they're like the GCC whisperer for mid-size companies?
You could say that.
Right.
Their philosophy of large enough to transform, small enough to care.
Yeah, I love that tagline.
Really resonates with their clients.
Yeah.
They bring the experience and the best practices from working with Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
But tailor their approach to the specific needs and budget of each mid-market client.
It's like they've found that sweet spot, big enough to handle these complex projects, but nimble enough to provide that personalized attention.
Exactly.
Now, I know YASH has developed this really interesting GCC maturity model. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah.
It sounds like it could help companies figure out where they stand.
Absolutely.
In their GCC journey.
It's a fantastic framework for understanding the different stages of GCC development.
Okay.
Starts with stage 1.
All right.
What YASH calls foundation.
Got it.
Where the focus is on basic cost savings and transactional processes.
Okay.
This is where companies are just beginning to explore the potential of a GCC.
Right.
Maybe shifting some back office operations or IT support to a lower cost location.
Kind of like dipping their toes in the water. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
They move to stage 2,
the
competency hub stage. Here, the GCC starts to develop specialized expertise in specific functions, like finance analytics or software development.
Okay.
They're taking on more complex tasks.
Yeah.
And becoming more integrated with the company's global operations.
Right.
We could even look at a company like, say, a regional bank.
Okay.
They might start by offshoring some basic data entry work.
Right.
But in stage 2, they might create a dedicated team in their GCC to handle all of their loan processing.
Wow.
It becomes a center of excellence for that specific function.
So it's not just about cutting costs anymore.
Right.
It's about building strategic capabilities in the GCC.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. Where do we go from there?
Stage 3 is where things get really interesting.
Ooh, I like interesting.
This is the strategic hub phase.
Okay.
Now, the GCC is driving innovation and digital transformation.
Right.
Think of companies developing new products, experimenting with cutting-edge technologies, and even influencing the company's overall strategic direction.
So they're really at the forefront.
They're not just following orders.
Yeah.
They're actively shaping the future of the business.
Wow.
A great example here is a retail company we work with.
Okay.
They initially set up their GCC for customer service.
Right.
But as they matured,
Yeah.
they started developing mobile apps
Interesting.
and experimenting with AI-powered personalization tools in their GCC.
So it becomes a mini Silicon Valley for the company.
That's a great way to put it.
All right.
And finally, we reach stage 4, the transformation partner stage.
Okay. Final stage.
At this point, the GCC is a full-fledged strategic partner to global business units. They're deeply involved in high-level decision-making,
Right.
leading research and development initiatives, and even driving mergers and acquisitions.
So essentially running entire pieces.
Think of companies like, large tech giants.
Yeah.
where their GCC is essentially running entire product lines.
Wow.
Or business units.
So the GCC goes from a cost-saving measure
Right.
to a global powerhouse, driving the company's growth.
Exactly.
It sounds like quite a journey.
It is.
And YASH supports companies at every step of the way.
That's right. What sets them apart is that they don't just provide a one-size-fits-all solution.
Okay.
They tailor their services to help companies at each stage of the maturity model, recognizing that their needs and challenges evolve as they grow.
Speaking of services, I'm really curious about YASH's GCC as a service model.
Yeah.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, right?
Like you just order up a custom-built GCC, and they handle everything.
It's a really innovative approach.
Okay.
Essentially, YASH takes care of all the heavy lifting involved in setting up and running a GCC.
Right.
They find the right location, they build the infrastructure, they recruit and train the talent, manage the day-to-day operations, everything. It's particularly appealing to companies that might not want to go through the hassle of building everything from scratch.
But what would be the main advantage of choosing this model over, say, building a GCC in-house?
Well, for starters, it's incredibly fast and efficient.
Okay.
YASH has already built the infrastructure and established the processes.
Right.
So companies can get their GCC up and running much quicker than if they were doing it themselves.
Got it.
This is especially attractive for companies that need to move quickly, maybe to seize a market opportunity,
Right.
or to respond to competitive pressure.
So speed and agility are key advantages.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Another big plus is access to YASH's deep expertise and best practices.
Okay.
They've been doing this for over 15 years and have a wealth of experience across various industries and geographies.
Right.
They've already ironed out the kinks and figured out what works best.
Yeah.
So companies can benefit from their knowledge and avoid common pitfalls.
It's like having a seasoned GCC Sherpa guiding you up the mountain.
Exactly.
And of course, there's the cost advantage.
Right.
Because YASH operates at scale and has established partnerships around the world, they can often negotiate better rates on things like real estate infrastructure and even talent.
Absolutely.
This can translate into significant cost savings
If you're sure.
for their clients.
It's sure.
Okay, so speed expertise and cost savings. Those are some pretty compelling reasons to consider this model.
For sure.
But I imagine there's a lot more to it than that.
There is.
What are some of the specific ways YASH customizes this GCC as a service for different companies?
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice?
YASH actually offers 3 distinct flavors of GCC as a service.
Oh, okay.
They've cleverly named them ReadyHub, BuildRight, and Flex Fusion.
Ooh, I love a good 3-pronged approach.
Each tailored to different needs and situations.
Let's break those down. What's the deal with ReadyHub?
Think of ReadyHub as the plug-and-play option. YASH has pre-built GCCs in strategic locations that are ready to go.
So they're just waiting.
They come equipped with all the necessary infrastructure,
Right.
technology, and support services.
Got it.
Companies can simply choose the location and the type of talent they need and hit the ground running.
So it's like moving into a fully furnished apartment.
Exactly.
Just bring your suitcase and you're good to go.
That's it.
Who would benefit most from that model?
ReadyHub is a great option for companies that need to set up a GCC quickly
Okay.
and don't have the time or resources to go through a lengthy customization process.
Right.
It's also a good choice for companies that are new to the GCC world and want to test the waters before making a bigger commitment.
Makes sense. So what about BuildRight?
BuildRight is for companies that need a more customized solution.
Okay.
With this model, YASH works closely with the client to design and build a GCC from the ground up,
Right.
tailoring it to their specific requirement.
Got it.
They help with everything from location selection and infrastructure setup
Right.
to talent acquisition and process design.
So more like building a custom house
Exactly.
than moving into a pre-built apartment.
That's a good analogy.
And who would be a good fit for BuildRight?
Companies that have very specific needs
Okay.
or a unique business model
Right.
that requires a highly customized solution would likely choose BuildRight.
Makes sense.
It's also a good option for companies that want to maintain more control over their GCC operations in the long run.
All right. So we've got ReadyHub for speed and convenience, BuildRight for customization and control.
Yep.
What about this Flex Fusion model?
Okay.
What makes that unique?
Flex Fusion is all about flexibility and scalability.
Okay.
With this model, companies can essentially mix and match different elements of YASH's services
Oh, wow.
to create a GCC that perfectly fits their evolving needs.
Interesting.
Maybe they start with a ready-up solution to get up and running quickly. And then they transition to a more customized build-right approach as their operations mature.
Okay.
Or perhaps they need a team of specialized experts for a short-term project.
Right.
Followed by a more permanent team for ongoing support.
So it's like having a GCC buffet.
I like that.
Where you can choose the dishes that best suit your appetite.
Exactly.
I love it. And who would benefit most from this flexibility?
Flex Fusion is ideal for companies that are experiencing rapid growth or change.
Okay.
It's also a good option for companies that have complex needs or operate in highly dynamic industries,
Right.
where the ability to adapt quickly is crucial.
It sounds like they really have a model for every situation.
They do.
Okay, so we've covered YASH's GCC as a service offerings. What about their more traditional service models?
Yeah.
I know they have a few other options for companies that might not be ready for a full-fledged GCC as a service solution.
They do.
Hmm.
And they're just as interesting. Let's dive into those in part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back. I'm eager to unpack these other YASH services. It's like they've got a whole toolkit for GCC building, not just the as-a-service model.
It really is impressive. It's like they've anticipated every possible need a company might have on their GCC journey. So what are some of these other tools in their arsenal?
Well, let's start with their Build Operate Transfer model, or BOT, as it's often called.
Okay, BOT. That sounds familiar. What's the idea behind that model?
It's actually quite straightforward. YASH builds the GCC, runs it for an agreed-upon period, and then transfers ownership to the client. It's like having YASH as your training wheels.
Oh, okay.
Well, you get comfortable with the whole GCC thing.
So it's a way to get a GCC up and running quickly
Correct.
without having to take on all the initial risks and complexities yourself.
Precisely. It's a great option for companies that eventually want to have full control over their GCC,
Okay.
but don't have the internal resources or expertise to manage it right out of the gate.
Who would be a good candidate for the BOT model?
Companies that are new to the GCC world and want to learn the ropes before taking full ownership would benefit from this model.
Makes sense.
Or maybe a company that's going through a major transition, like a merger or acquisition,
Right.
and needs to quickly set up a GCC to support their new operations.
It's like having a GCC apprenticeship program. You get to learn from the experts
Exactly.
and gain confidence before you go solo. I like it. What else is in their toolkit?
They also offer a contract to hire model, or CTH. This one's all about staffing the GCC.
I was just wondering about that. How do companies actually find the right people to work in their GCC?
Well, with CTH, YASH essentially acts as a matchmaker, connecting companies with top talent in their chosen location.
Okay.
The candidates are initially hired on a contract basis, which allows the company to evaluate their skills and cultural fit before making a long-term commitment.
That makes a lot of sense. It reduces the risk of hiring the wrong people, and it gives the employees a chance to try out the company and the role before they fully commit. What happens if the company decides they want to hire a contractor full-time?
That's the beauty of this model. If both sides are happy, the employee can be converted to a full-time employee of the company seamlessly.
Oh.
It's a win-win for everyone involved.
So it's like a GCC dating service. You get to go on a few dates.
I like that.
Before you decide if you want to put a ring on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you're looking to build a highly skilled workforce from scratch, YASH offers the Hire, Train, Deploy model, or HTD for short.
Okay, HTD. Break that one down for me.
With HTD, YASH identifies and recruits talented individuals in the chosen location,
Right.
puts them through rigorous training programs tailored to the company's specific needs, and then deploys them to the GCC, ready to hit the ground running.
So it's like a custom-built talent pipeline.
Yeah.
For your GCC, you get a team that's already trained and aligned with your company's culture and processes. What are the advantages of this model?
Well, for one, it significantly reduces the time and effort involved in building a skilled team from scratch.
Yeah.
It also ensures that everyone is on the same page from day one.
Right.
Which can lead to improved productivity and faster ramp-up times.
I can imagine that's particularly valuable in industries where there's a high demand for specialized skills.
Absolutely.
YASH can find the people, train them up, and get them working for you much faster than you can do it yourself.
Exactly. And they can also tap into talent pools that companies might not have access to on their own.
So it's like they're opening up a whole new world of talent possibilities. Very cool. Now, we've talked about building and staffing the GCC. What about the technical side of things?
Yeah.
I know technology is a huge part of the GCC equation.
You're absolutely right. And that's where YASH's Architect on Ground model, or AOG, comes into play.
AOG, that's a new one. What's that all about?
AOG is all about providing high-level technical expertise and guidance.
Oh.
YASH embeds a senior architect or a team of architects within the client's GCC. To help them design, implement, and manage their technology solutions.
So it's like having a tech guru on site to guide all your technology decisions.
Exactly. It's particularly valuable for companies that are undertaking complex technology transformations.
Right.
Like migrating to the cloud or implementing a new ERP system.
Wow.
The AOG team ensures that everything is built the right way using the latest technologies and best practices.
I can see how that would be incredibly valuable. You'd have peace of mind knowing that your technology infrastructure is in good hands. Now, I'm curious to learn more about YASH's Centers of Excellence, or COEs. I know they play a big role in their ability to provide specialized expertise.
The COEs are really at the heart of YASH's expertise.
Okay.
These are specialized teams that focus on specific technologies, industries, and functions. They're constantly researching and experimenting with the latest advancements,
Right.
ensuring that YASH is always at the forefront of innovation.
So it's not just about having a broad range of skills, it's about having deep expertise
Exactly.
in those areas.
For example, they have a dedicated COE for SAP, another for Salesforce, and yet another for cloud platforms like AWS and Azure.
Got it.
This allows them to provide truly specialized support regardless of the client's technology stack.
It makes a lot of sense. It's like having an entire team of specialists at your fingertips. But it's not just about technology, right? They also have COEs focused on specific industries.
Absolutely. They recognize that each industry has its own unique nuances and challenges. So they have COEs dedicated to sectors like manufacturing, healthcare, finance, and retail, just to name a few.
This ensures they're not just bringing technical expertise to the table. They're also bringing industry-specific knowledge and best practices.
Right.
It's like they speak the language of their clients' businesses.
Exactly. And that's a huge differentiator for YASH.
Yeah.
They're not just a technology provider.
Yeah.
They're a strategic partner that understands their clients' businesses.
Right.
And can help them achieve their goals.
Now, I know YASH is big on automation and AI. I'm curious how they're incorporating those technologies into their GCC services. It seems like that would be a natural fit.
They are.
Yeah.
And in some very clever ways.
Yeah.
They're using automation and AI to improve efficiency, reduce costs, and enhance the overall GCC experience.
Can you give me some specific examples?
Of course, one area where they're really making strides is talent acquisition.
Okay.
They're using AI-powered tools to analyze resumes,
Right.
screen candidates,
Right.
and even predict which candidates are most likely to succeed in specific roles.
Wow.
This helps them find the right people faster and more effectively, saving time and money.
So they're taking the guesswork out of hiring.
Exactly. They're also using AI for things like predictive analytics, identifying potential risks and opportunities before they even arise.
Wow, that's impressive.
So they're not just reacting to problems, they're proactively anticipating them.
Exactly. And they're using automation to streamline all sorts of repetitive tasks, like data entry, invoice processing, and even some aspects of software development.
Right.
This frees up their teams to focus on higher value activities that require creativity and human judgment.
Absolutely.
It sounds like they're really embracing the power of technology to make GCCs more agile and efficient, and they're not just using it for their own internal operations, are they?
You're reading my mind. They're also helping their clients incorporate automation and AI into their GCCs.
Oh, wow.
This is crucial for companies that want to stay ahead of the curve and become more competitive.
It's like they're future-proofing their clients' GCCs.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from talent acquisition and technology to automation and AI. I'm starting to see why YASH is such a sought-after partner for companies looking to build and optimize their GCCs.
And we haven't even talked about their global footprint yet. They have offices and delivery centers all over the world,
right?
Which gives them a huge advantage in terms of talent cost and 247 support.
Let's delve into that in the final part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
I'm eager to hear how they leverage their global presence to benefit their clients. We're back for the final leg of our deep dive into global capability centers, and I'm ready to hear more about how YASH Technologies uses their global reach to really help their clients succeed.
Their global structure is truly a key differentiator. They have a presence in key locations all over the world,
right,
from North America to Europe to Asia. This means they can provide round-the-clock support, following the sun, to ensure that there's always a team available to address client needs, regardless of the time zone.
No more waiting until the next business day to get an answer.
Exactly.
That's a game changer, especially if you're dealing with urgent issues or tight deadlines.
Absolutely. But it's more than just being available 24/7. This global presence also gives them access to a much wider pool of talent. They can handpick the best people for each project, regardless of where they're located.
So they're not limited by geography when it comes to finding the best and brightest?
Exactly. And they can also take advantage of cost arbitrage.
Right.
They might choose to place certain functions like software development or customer support in locations with lower labor costs, while keeping other functions like strategic planning or research and development in more established tech hubs.
It's about finding that optimal balance between cost effectiveness and quality, but managing teams across different time zones and cultures.
Right.
It's got to come with its own set of challenges, right?
You'd think so. But YASH has really mastered the art of managing global teams. They have robust processes and tools in place to ensure seamless communication and collaboration.
Makes sense.
Plus, their company culture emphasizes open communication, respect for diversity, and a shared commitment to excellence, which helps to bridge those geographical and cultural divides.
It sounds like they've created a truly global work environment. Now, we've talked a lot about the benefits of GCCs and how YASH helps companies achieve them, but what about the actual process of setting up and running a GCC? What does that look like in practice?
YASH takes a very systematic and comprehensive approach. They start by working closely with the client to develop a clear understanding of their business goals, challenges, and requirements. It's like they're creating a custom blueprint for each GCC.
So no cookie-cutter solutions here.
Definitely not. Once they have a deep understanding of the client's needs, they'll help them choose the best location for their GCC. This involves considering a whole range of factors like talent availability, infrastructure costs, and the regulatory environment.
It's not just about picking the cheapest location. They're looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. Then comes the infrastructure setup.
Okay.
They'll help the client secure office space, set up IT systems, and establish all the necessary processes and procedures. It's like building a mini company from the ground up.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It can be, but YASH has the experience and expertise to make it as smooth as possible.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the talent acquisition piece, which you talked about earlier. They have a really impressive process for finding and onboarding top talent.
And once the GCC is up and running, what kind of ongoing support does YASH provide?
They offer a full suite of ongoing support services, including operational management, performance monitoring, reporting, and continuous improvement initiatives.
So they don't just set it and forget it.
No, they're basically an extension of the client's team, ensuring that the GCC operates smoothly and delivers on its objectives. They're invested in the long-term success of their clients' GCCs.
It's like having a built-in GCC consultant. Now, if a company is considering setting up a GCC, what are some of the key things they should keep in mind? What advice would YASH give them?
First and foremost, they need to have a clear vision and strategy for their GCC. What are their goals? What functions do they want to relocate? How will the GCC integrate with their overall business strategy? Having a well-defined roadmap from the outset is essential for success.
So no jumping in without a plan.
Exactly. They also need to be prepared to invest in the right talent. Building a high-performing GCC team requires finding people with the right skills, experience, and cultural fit. It's not just about finding the cheapest labor. It's about finding people who are passionate about the work and committed to the company's success.
And that takes time, effort, and resources.
Absolutely. YASH also emphasizes the importance of communication and collaboration. The GCC should not be treated as a separate entity. It needs to be tightly integrated with the company's global operations. This requires open communication channels, regular feedback loops, and a shared understanding of goals and priorities.
It's about breaking down those geographical barriers and fostering a sense of unity across the organization.
Exactly. And finally, they encourage companies to embrace a culture of continuous improvement. The GCC should not be seen as a static entity. It should be constantly evolving and adapting to meet the changing needs of the business. This requires a willingness to experiment, learn from mistakes, and constantly seek out new ways to optimize and enhance operations.
It's all about agility and adaptability now for our listener who's been soaking all this in. What's the key takeaway they should walk away with from this deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway is this: a GDC is not just a cost-saving measure. It's a strategic tool that can help companies unlock tremendous value, from accessing global talent and driving innovation to accelerating growth and achieving their global ambitions.
Absolutely.
And YASH Technologies, with their deep expertise, innovative approach, and unwavering commitment to their clients, is the ideal partner to guide companies on this exciting journey.
Well said. I've learned so much from this deep dive. I'm starting to see why GCCs are becoming such a popular strategy for companies of all sizes. It's like a whole new world of possibilities has opened up.
It really has.
That's for sure. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of global capability centers.
My pleasure.
I hope our listener has found it as informative and inspiring as I have, and be sure to join us next time for another fascinating deep dive into the ever-evolving world of business.